Well, joining us now is Lauren O'Neil, the Executive Director of Olancho Aid, and Bishop Jose Bonello, the Bishop of the Diocese of Juticalpa, and they are here to talk about the Olancho Aid Foundation in Honduras, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Maybe, Lauren, if you could talk a little bit about how this all began and maybe the Boston connection as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the Olancho Aid Foundation was founded by a diocesan priest from Boston, actually, Father Richard Donahue. He came down to Honduras, I believe, in the early 90s and just changed, I think, his whole view of the world. And he fell in love with Olancho, where Juticalpa is, where we have schools and where we operate. And he rallied many supporters, especially from this area, to support the construction of schools and to bring higher education, bilingual education, special education, and Catholic education to this large community. So he really did tremendous work to found schools that have been, one of our schools, Nazareth School for Children with Special Needs, just celebrated its 27th anniversary.
Wow.
And you know, this is part of his legacy and part of the work that he did. And we received lots of support from folks in the Boston area and other parishes in the U.S. To continue to support education in that region.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know much about the work that the two of you do with this beautiful organization, but is the main hope to get education to students, or does it go much beyond that? And do you work in different areas, especially within the diocese?
We do focus very much so on education. We support parents as well. You know, we provide lots of scholarships. Scholarships has always been the main focus, I would say. But we've worked with many parishes and done mission work. We receive groups from all over the country as well. And more recently, we've had really wonderful partnerships with many Catholic universities who come down and do service immersion work and have immersion experiences. So they spend time in community. We do a lot of collaboration with the diocese. And with Bishop Bonello, working with rural churches and working with the cathedral there in Juticalpa.
That's great.
And Bishop, maybe if you could talk a little bit about your diocese. I know you've been there almost 13 years now, and maybe about how important the work of Olancho Aid has been for the diocese.
I am a Maltese Franciscan mission,
Okay.
but from Malta. But I have the privilege and the blessing to live and to serve the people of God in Honduras for these 34 years, past 34 years. 21 of them I was a pastor in a rural parish in the central part, and these last 12 years have been in the diocese.
Yeah.
When I was installed there, I found many good things, amongst them the Olancho Aid Foundation, which focus on education that we need badly.
Yeah.
The founder used to say, Olancho needs education, education, and education.
Yeah.
We used to say over there, I think it's in Chinese proverb, and when you have plans for 1 year, plant corn or beans, the most things that we. If you have plans for 50 years, plant a tree. But if you have plans for time indefinite, educate a human person. If he is a boy, someday he will be a good man. If she is a girl, someday you will have a good family. Yeah. And I think this is going to happen. This is happening, and it's still going on happening.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And Lauren, I know you mentioned this, that, you know, Olancho Aid started here with a priest from the Archdiocese of Boston. So how do the two of you, with all the work that you're doing along with your team, continue to keep that relationship up with those here in Boston, especially these diocese that perhaps you're visiting while you're here?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we do. We continue to host many of our supporters and long-term supporters. Some parishes have supported Olancho Aid for close to 30 years. And they would come down annually to do mission work and be at our schools, integrate into communities. But we also come up and we like to visit and to show our gratitude by spending time with our supporters. So we've been doing that on this trip, and it's been really quite lovely. We've been bouncing around a lot between different parishes, but it's been quite nice.
Can you talk about some of the things that groups that go down would be doing while they're down there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our groups really are often focused on supporting the schools that we are in, or supporting other rural communities and those schools. Sometimes they have needs that we are able to support as well. But usually they'll come down and do repairs on a classroom. We always need new supplies, materials for schools, just like we would here in the States. We've had some teams that do medical mission work as well. That has been long-standing. But a lot of the work that we do with universities and with student groups is focused on immersion. So just being in solidarity and having an experience of accompaniment in our schools, with our students, with our parents, is really important. Just sometimes we want to come in and fix problems or help in ways, and sometimes the best way to really show up for individuals is to be a witness. So we try and save space for that as well in the work and how people engage with our beneficiaries and the community in Juticalpa.
And Bishop Joseph, maybe you can speak to this as well, and Lauren, you're more than welcome to jump in too, but when you're in Honduras and you're doing this work, what have been some of those moments of walking alongside these students and perhaps seeing their gratitude, or these families who are getting this aid from this ministry work? How has that been resonating in your own life?
I have the blessing to see that the two ends meet. The generosity from here and the blessings over there. So when you mean education is the very most needed thing, because when a person is educated, she can face the world, she can face life and what the inclination one have. We are not so how do you say it, fortunate to have openings, but still, if one is educated, sometime some opportunity will appear and they can go on.
You've seen effects from people that have gone down and helped as well, Lauren.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, it's a really powerful experience to witness, how other individuals live, how other Catholics live, have that universal experience of going to Mass in another country, in another language. Yeah. I think I always feel, I know for me myself that can be kind of a touching experience in another country, but to see visitors come down and to have that experience, but also to see exactly what Bishop Bonello was saying, sort of the change in confidence that students and families get by feeling that they belong, that they have a space, they have a voice, and that our team and our organization is there to support them. That shifts people's ability to see where they can land, how far they can go in life. So it's important, and it's wonderful to be a part of that and to see folks that support the work and provide that. When they come down, they get to see that sort of firsthand, which is always nice.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Lauren and Bishop. We appreciate you stopping by. If people want to find out more about the organization, where do they go?
They can go to olanchoaid.org for more information.
For more information. Yeah. And I understand you might be seeing a Boston Red Sox game while you're in town, Bishop.
Yes.
The
Doing some-
former bishop was a fanatic. Was from here.
Yeah.
Was from here.
Okay.
The most beautiful jewel in the crown is a school for children with special needs.
Oh, yeah,
Miracles happen there.
yeah.
And thank you to all those who, them and all those who collaborate. Thank you very much.
It's great. Wonderful work. Thank you for being with us and sharing.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and
Yeah.
especially your entourage that you brought in with you to studio today. So thank you all for being here as well, and you have our prayers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Of course.